Hello everyone, myself Avni. I am from Lovely Professional University and today I am going to create a database on Cars24. So basically, first of all, we have some definitions. First is entities. So basically, what is an entity? An entity is an object or component of data. An entity is represented as rectangle in an ER diagram. For example, if we look here, so we have these rectangle brackets. For example, here customer, cars, transaction, owner, and invoice. These all are the entities. And if we talk about attributes, so basically an attribute is a property or characteristic of an entity. It describes the data that can be stored for the entity. For example, here name, customer ID, phone, mail, these all are the attributes of the entity customer. And the next is relationships. Relationships represents the association between two or more entities. For example, buys and authentication in the place of transaction, payment method, owners. So these all are the relationships. If we notice here, we have different shapes for entities, attributes, and relationships. For example, rectangle brackets for entities, circle brackets or circle shapes for attributes, and relationships we have diamond shapes. And for example, if we move further, so we have primary key and foreign key. So what are these terms? So if we take the term primary key, so these keys serves as a unique identifier for each row in a database table. For example, if we have customer ID, email, phone, so these cannot be same of each person. We have different values for each person for their customer ID, phone numbers, and mails. So these are the primary keys. If we talk about foreign key, so foreign keys link data in one table to the data in the another table. And then next we have overview. So before this, if we take a look on this, so in entities, we have cars, customer, transaction, pricing, seller, sales, buyers, invoice. So we will see further that these all are the entities. Under these entities, attributes will come. These entities will come in a rectangle box. Attributes will come in the circular box. Basically, attributes are the parts or are the information of the entities. For example, for the entity car, we have car ID, make, model of the car, year of the car, what is the color of the car, number plate, engine type, and mileage, insurance information. And next, if we come customer, so we have customer ID, name, mail, phone, address. And then we have seller ID, name, mail, phone, address, car ID. So why is there car ID in the place of seller? As which seller has which car? So we have to allot a car ID. And then we have sale ID, date, like what is the date of sale, amount, like how much amount the customer have to pay to the seller or the owner for the car, payment method, and which payment method customer is using, like online or which online platform he or she is using, status. And then we have buyer, so buyer ID, seller ID, name, phone, address, status, payment method. Again we have seller ID in the place of buyer ID, as every customer have their own owners. Like if any customer is choosing any car, so that car have one owner, so that customer have to purchase that car from that owner or that seller. So we have to allot a seller ID in the section of buyer also. And then we have transaction or pricing. If we see, like first of all, there will be coming transaction ID, car ID, customer ID, seller ID. We have transaction date, at what is the date of the transaction, how much amount we have to pay, so transaction amount. We have car ID, and in invoice, if we say, so we have invoice ID, seller ID, customer ID. Like why we are putting customer ID and seller ID in the section of invoice? The reason is this, that we have like in invoice, like it has information, like it's like the proof or the information, like which seller is selling their car to which customer. So that's why we have added seller ID and customer ID in invoice section. And then we have date, car ID, due date, total amount. And now if we talk about the overview of our ER diagram, this is not the proper ER diagram, but it's just the overview of the ER diagram. So first of all, our main subject is Cars 24. So first of all, here it will come customer, and then customer ID. First of all, if you put customer name, then we have customer ID, then phone number of the customer, then we have mail of the customer. Then we can add three things more in the place of customer name, like first name, and we can add middle name, then we can add last name. I'm also putting the short forms, like NA is for name. Then we can use the other attribute or the other entity, which is owner. First of all, we can put owner. So basically in owner, we can add owner name, phone number, and now we have owner phone number. Then we can add owner mail. We can also add owner ID and address. So basically these all are the attributes which we are adding here. Like for entity owner, we are adding these all attributes: owner name, owner phone, owner ID, address. And we can also put car ID. What is the reason that we are putting car ID is that every owner have their own car, like which car is allotted to which owner. So basically that's why we have to allot car ID in the section of owner. Add transaction. Here we can add TID, that's transaction ID we can say. Then due date. And then here we can add date of transaction. Then total amount. We can also add customer ID and car ID. And we can also add like seller ID, that transaction is going to which seller to which customer to which seller. And then after that we can add invoice. We can add invoice ID, seller ID, or car ID, or we can add total amount, that what is the total amount. And then we can also add date and the due date. So these can all be the attributes for invoice. After that, we can take one more entity. We can take cars. This is the most important entity. So we can add car's name, car number, or like insurance information. After that, we can add model, year, that in which year you are purchasing your car, and what is the color of your car. So we can add these all the attributes with the entity of car. So basically, if we take a look on this, then here we have subject as Cars24. We have relationships, like we will look at the relationships in our proper ER diagram. For now, we are just looking at the entities and the attributes. So here entities are, if we sum up, customer, owner, transaction, cars, invoice, and in the place of attribute we have customer. For the entity customer, we have the attributes customer name, customer ID, phone number, mail, and in the place of name we can add three things more: first name, middle name, and last name. If we talk about owner, so entity owner have attributes as owner name, owner phone number, owner mail, owner ID, address, car ID. And then if we talk about transaction, so we have transaction ID, due date, and what is the date and the total amount, and your customer ID and car ID. And then if we talk about invoice, then we have invoice ID, seller ID, car ID, total amount, date, due date. And then after this, we have cars. So in cars, we have attributes as car's name, car's number, what is the insurance information of your car, what is the model of the car, year in which you are purchasing your car, color of the car. So basically, this is the sum up information for the entity diagram, ER diagram. After this, if we look at, this is the proper ER diagram. So here, customer, cars, owner, transaction, invoice. So basically, the shape in the words written in the shape rectangle, these all are the entities. And if we talk about the attributes, so here words written in the circle shape, these all are the attributes. What are the attributes? As the data or the information about the entity. For example, cars have this car ID, make, model, type. So these all are the mileage and car number. So these all are the attributes. Now if we talk about the relationships, so we have different relationships. For example, one to one, one to many, many to one, many to many. So if we talk about cars to owner or owner to car, so basically one owner can have one car, like not more, like one car can come under only one owner. So this is the one to one relationship. Or if we talk about, like one car cannot have more than one owners, like we are not assuming rent here, so we will take it as a one to one relationship. And if we talk about customer to car, so customer can purchase as many cars they want, so so obviously it can be many to many relationship. Now next, if we see that we have owner to invoice, that's the relationship of authentication. And then after that, if we see the customer to transaction, so basically this is also the one to one relationship, that like customer can take the transaction from one or one way only, like online or offline, or online it can take only one platform. So it's the relationship of payment method. After this, so here we have, so this was about my database. Thank you.